Hey everyone, this is Rajendran here. In this video, we're going to learn how to host OpenAlgo in the cloud. First of all, let me tell you what is OpenAlgo. OpenAlgo is more of a self-hostable algo trading platform. Means it is your own algo trading platform, which you can deploy this private algo trading platform, which is 100% open source, and it is free to use, free to modify, and free to distribute. You can run on macOS, Windows, Linux, and the cloud servers. And you can also connect with your own favorite trading softwares like AmiBroker, TradingView, Python, Excel, MetaTrader, and recently Chartink, right? We're going to learn how to host this OpenAlgo and how you can run your own algo trading platform in your own private domain, right? So we're going to use Ubuntu server for that. And here's the connectivity diagram, right? So we're going to use Cloudflare, and Cloudflare, we're going to connect our server so that we'll be able to access our application via Cloudflare, which the Cloudflare is going to act like a security mechanism. Cloudflare comes at basic cost. Almost majority of the top brokers in India use Cloudflare for protection purpose, right? And the basic usage is quite free, and you can access unlimited domains in the Cloudflare. So there is no limitation to that. The basic plan is quite free. So they provide basic DDoS protection and basic firewall solutions and cache mechanism to make your websites faster. So we're going to learn some of the configuration of that. And then, so the major requirements are you need to have an Ubuntu server, a minimum of 2 GB RAM, and then a Cloudflare account, and preferably a domain name. A domain name is a must. So you have to get it directly from the Cloudflare itself, or you can also get it from any of the domain providers like GoDaddy or BigRock or any vendors where you can procure the domain, and you have to connect with the Cloudflare account. So the Ubuntu, in Ubuntu server, what we're gonna do is like we're gonna need a minimum of 2 GB RAM, as I said, and we're gonna configure the Python virtual environment. We're gonna configure Nginx reverse proxy, and then we're gonna configure the UFW firewall, and we also gonna configure the Let's Encrypt SSL certificate, and we also gonna configure the Cloudflare DNS records and protection. And don't worry, we're going to configure everything in a matter of less than 5 minutes, right? So let's go and kickstart. So first thing first, I'm going to go to the Cloudflare. I'm going to create the domain name record, and then I'm going to create an server. So server you can configure anywhere in India. That's what it's highly recommended. Better closer to Mumbai, it's highly recommended. So you can consider using any data center in and around Mumbai. Or you can consider using like Amazon AWS, Vultr, Linode. So they have their data center in Mumbai, and if in case you want to go little outside Mumbai but still within India, you can consider using something like DigitalOcean, OVH Cloud, and yes, Control S. You can obviously they provide data centers in Mumbai as well. So these are the list of vendors you can approach. You can register with them online, and then you can start using it right away. Right, so let's go to the Cloudflare. So here I'm using Cloudflare here. Let me go and log in. I already connected a sample domain over here. So the domain, as you can see over here, so open-app. So I'll go to the open-app. So what they provide is, so what configuration you need to know is, there are 3 configuration you need to know about it. One is the DNS record. Second one is the SSL TLS for security purpose. And third one is the cache. The caching is what you should be aware about that. So first we'll go to the DNS. Let's go and create a DNS record, right? So I'm going to create an A record over here. So let me go and create it. These are like some default A record, which I'm CNAME records. So you can ignore it. And let me add a record here. I'm going to add a record over here. So I need an IP address, which is going to point to my server. So what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to go, first of all, I'm going to go to DigitalOcean. In my DigitalOcean account, I'm going to create a server. So you can go and create from your own hosting provider. You can go and create your own server. So here, let me create a droplet. A droplet is a simple CPU instance where we're going to create the simple Ubuntu server. So let me go and create. I'm going to select the data center location as Bangalore. In your case, it's highly recommended to go with Mumbai. So for demonstration purpose, I'm just connecting from Bangalore. And once I'm done with that, I will go and select the Ubuntu and then version. This is the latest operating system version 24.10. Latest is better, right? So followed by that, I'm gonna go for an dedicated GPU. I'll go with the basic plan itself because normal 2 GB plan itself more than enough. So we don't need to go for an high computation stuff. I'm going to select premium AMD and then I'm going to select this $14 plan, which is 2 GB RAM, 50 GB NVMe SSD and 2 terabyte transfer, right? So that, that's pretty much more than enough for a month. And 14 per month. And then I'm going to select, I'm going to enter my root password, which is what I'm going to use it to log in. So some data vendors, they might be sending the root password over the mail. So ensure how your data vendor is, data center vendor is providing those things. So let me create the droplet. So creating the droplet will not take much amount of time. So something like in DigitalOcean, maybe it is something like less than a minute or so. Right? And then you will be assigned with an IP address, which later on you can use it to log in. So once the IP address is generated, we're going to use this IP address to go to Cloudflare and then we're going to create the A record. And then we're going to come back and then we're going to configure the server. So the IP address got generated. So I'm going to copy this. I'll go to the record. I'm going to create a subdomain record like, so the open-app is the main domain name. We're not going to connect to the main URL. So we're going to create a subdomain, something like maybe, so let's say I'm going to connect with a broker like, I'll say like my Algo. So myalgo.open-app. This is where I'm going to create. So that's a sample domain name, right? So I don't want to host it in my primary domain name. Maybe I want to host it in a subdomain name. If you want to host it in your primary domain name, you have to give an @ followed by that you have to enter your IP address. In my name, in my case, I'm not going to host it in my primary domain. I'm going to host it in my subdomain. So I'll say like my Algo. Remember this URL as well. And then save this. So that's the only thing that you have to do in the DNS record. Or if in case you want to configure your www.open-app, so then you have to create a CNAME record with the www and open-app. So once this is done, the next one is like SSL TLS. So ensure that you go here and ensure that the SSL encryption is end-to-end and it is in full strict mode. If not, go and change this, go configure and change this, ensure that it is in full strict mode. This is very much required for the browser to Cloudflare, gives a end-to-end HTTPS protection, and from Cloudflare to your origin server, which is your Ubuntu server, that also provides an end-to-end security solution, right? So always when you're accessing from your Cloudflare, when you're accessing from the browser, the Cloudflare will be providing the end-to-end protection for your websites. It helps your server from attackers most of the times. And now the last one, I'll go to the caching and ensure that you're enabled cache. Right, the cache is also a free service, and then from there you can go and configure. If in case you want to purge the cache, you can go and purge this cache. This cache is very much essential for making your website to load faster, right? Most of your static files like JavaScript, CSS, it will enable you to load faster. So these are the primary things. Now, once we are done with that, the Cloudflare, we are done here. And now we're gonna go to the Ubuntu server installation. So here are the very few minimal steps that you need to learn to install Ubuntu. We had simplified a lot, so let's go and go with that. So Cloudflare account setup, we are done with that. The DNS configuration, we're done with that. Of course, the SSL TLS configuration also, we're done with that. The cache, which is an optional one, which is definitely going to boost your website faster, that also we had done with that. And then next step is like going and getting the broker setup, API key, API secret key, as per the OpenAlgo documentation. Means if you want to go and configure for your broker, you have to go to that particular broker and then you have to follow the instruction, and finally you have to get the API key and API secret key. The procedure varies for different broker, different mode. Every broker, they have their own developer portal. So there you can go and get the API keys and API secret keys and then configure it as per the OpenAlgo documentation. And then you also have to prepare the redirection URL. So redirection URL is little different. It is, I also given some examples as well. So example for the domain name, how the URL will look like, and for subdomain name, how the URL will look like. So in my case, the URL is gonna be, right, so let me call this, I'm gonna use a subdomain, right? I'm gonna use this subdomain. So the subdomain example, I'll take it, I'm gonna prepare that, right? So let's go and prepare this. So what I'm gonna do is I'll take a notepad, right? I'll go and get this, I'm gonna prepare this URL here. So my domain name is, it's my Algo, right? My Algo, and my domain name is open-app. Followed by that, let's say I'm gonna configure for the broker fires here. So whichever the broker that you want to configure, you have to enter the broker name as per the documentation. So if in case you don't know about the what broker name you have to enter, you have to refer the documentation itself, right? That is highly mandatory. And once you are done with this is the preparation which you're gonna keep it for yourself for configure in the broker site. I'm gonna go to the broker page. Let's say I'll go to the broker developer portal. From there, I'll go to the dashboard. So here I'm gonna go and configure my, so let me enter my credentials. So here I'm gonna go and configure my API key and API secret key. So let me create an app here. And then I'll say like OpenAlgo-Ubuntu, right? And then I'm going to enter my redirect URL. Not every broker demand the redirect URL. So some of the brokers like Dun and Angel, Kotak, they don't demand redirect URL. So in that case, you can simply ignore it, right? So if brokers are demanding this redirect URL, then obviously you have to enter in this format. So the format you can always refer from the documentation. And then, so description, I'll just say OpenAlgo. And when it comes to fires, the webhook is not required. Let me delete this. And app permission, I'll ensure that I'll give as per the documentation itself. So I'll enable all the app permissions. And then I also say I accept the API usage. And let me click on create the app. So once the app is created, obviously my credentials, app ID, app secret ID, everything is in place. So I'll keep this handy. So now I'm gonna go to my terminal to connect with my server. So here is my server IP. Let me copy this. I'll go to my terminal. And let me also zoom this a bit so that it will be easy for you guys to see that. So root, so I'm going to do an SSH root at the rate followed by, I'm going to connect with my IP address. So which you can see it from the instruction, you can see it from the Ubuntu server itself. I mean, the instruction is there. So SSH, connect with your user. In my case, the user is root. At the rate, you connect with your IP address. I also given some example as well, so that it will be easy for you to follow up. So let's go and enter. So first time it will be asking for a fingerprint. Let's say yes. And then it is asking me for a password. So let me go and type the password. Now once the password is typed properly, it should be entering into my root account where I should be able to see my terminal. So here I'm gonna go and follow the next set of instructions. The next set of instructions are gonna be pretty easy. I'm gonna download the shell script command to install OpenAlgo. This contains a lot of automation part like configuring the Nginx, configuring the Let's Encrypt and everything, right? So whatever the necessary things which is required to configure, everything is there. So let's install this shell script command, right? This will install the shell script command, and then now we're gonna run the shell script command. So let me run the shell script command, paste it, and I'll say enter. So you can see that it's asking me for whether you want to convert the time zone to Indian IST time zone or not. I'm gonna say yes. This is very much important. Yes. So now it is asking me to enter my domain name or my subdomain name. So in my case, it is going to be a subdomain. So I'm going to enter my subdomain, myalgo.open-.app, right? So in your case, if it is domain name, you can directly enter the domain name. Let me press enter. And once I entered, it is asking me to get the broker's name. So I'm going to enter the broker's name. So as per the valid broker list, so I'll enter like Fires. And then next it is asking me for an API key. So let me go and get the API key here. So the API key, which I can find it in my documentation, in my broker developer portal. Let me copy that. Then I'll come back. I'll paste it, right? And this should be as per the documentation. So as per the documentation, I have to get the API key and API secret key. It's direct, but different broker, the mechanism is different. So highly refer the documentation. So second thing is like go and get the secret ID. So let me copy the secret API secret key and I'll paste this. So in my case, I'm exposing the API keys and API secret keys. Obviously I'm going to delete all the API keys and API secret keys once the session is over, but in your case you should not be doing that. Now once everything is done, the automated installation process is starting. It will be downloading all the necessary tools, and not only that, and everything goes fine, you should be fine getting the final status. If at all anywhere it got stuck, you will be getting an error. You can always get support from our Discord community if in case you are facing any issue in installing your application in the cloud. Right, so it's configuring the firewall rules, it is obtaining the SSL certificate, and the SSL certificate is done. So we had completely done with the setup, and it's also running OpenAlgo in the backend using Gunicon as well. So it's not running in any of the port. Let me go and do that. So I'm going to go to myalgo.open-.app. I should be seeing this. If everything runs fine, I should be able to see this, and I should be able to go and log in. And my first time when I'm logging in, I should go and configure it. So let's say I'll go to Rajendran, and then Rajendran@marketcalls.in, and then password. I'm gonna use my password. Ensure that the password is stronger. Right, I had done with that. So let me create the account. So once I done with that, let me continue to log in. I'm gonna enter my login here. Now once the login is successful, you should be able to see that first time when you are seeing this, you will be seeing this broker notification page. So again, it differs upon broker to broker, the login changes. So let me continue. So if everything is successful, you should be able to see the dashboard. That means the configuration is completed successfully. And the last and final configuration, you have to go to the API key and generate the API key. Right, so this is very much required for if you're going to use something like an TradingView kind of stuff for automation, or AmiBroker for automation. So go to the TradingView and check the webhook URL. The webhook URL is like here. So this is the webhook URL, and you also go and check creating in the Chartink as well. Create a sample strategy. Later on you can delete it. Let's say I'll create a test strategy here, and then I'm gonna create it. So ensure that you are able to see the webhook URL. So just copy the URL and then test it out. The URL should be working fine. And don't expose your API keys and your webhook URL. It's highly sensitive. It should be only to you. So it is for safety purpose. So don't expose your webhook URLs anywhere. And then try creating a symbol. So if everything works fine, you should be able to see that the symbols should be appearing fine, right? Yeah, Reliance, and then quantity I'll say 10, and then I'll try to add a symbol. All right, so everything looks working fine and it is successful, and that means everything is fine, right? So this is for single deployment. If you want to do for another deployment, what you can do is, like, let's say same server, you're gonna add one more deployment. I'll go to DNS, right? I'll go and say like add record. You can go and add another record. Let's say I'm gonna add one more algo. I'll say like my algo, my dad algo, right? So let's say like dad algo. So I'm gonna put in the same server itself. I'm just gonna add another server. I mean, same server. I'm gonna add another instance, maybe one more OpenAlgo I'm gonna run. I'm gonna save this, and all you have to do is you have to run the script one more time, right? So just run the script one more time, and then my dad algo dot openalgo.in. So which means you can manage your entire family's account in one single place, right? And then you just type enter and then redo the same configuration. Enter the broker's name and enter the API key, API secret key for a different account, a different broker, and just configure it, enter. So one more instance of OpenAlgo will be ready in another subdomain name. So likewise, you can host n number of application inside the OpenAlgo, right? So that way you can easily manage it very efficiently. So I hope this instruction is really helpful in deploying your own OpenAlgo in the cloud. So let me know in comments or in our Discord community. If you are facing any issues, you can connect with our Discord help section, where we are helping the users to use this OpenAlgo application. If in case you like this or you want any of these features, so come and say what features you want. So we are happy to build OpenAlgo for you. Thank you.